Mayday, Mayday. This is Flight 729, declaring an emergency. That was the last transmission before radio silence. The control tower scrambled to make contact, but there was no response, only static. Minutes later, the radar showed something chilling. The plane was still in the air, still following its route, but there was no sign of life on board. When it finally landed, what the investigators found would leave them with more questions than answers. I am Detective Drayk, and I've seen my share of mysteries, cases that defy logic, cases that make you question everything you thought you knew. But this is something else. The moment I read the reports, I knew something was off. A commercial airliner, an experienced pilot, perfect weather conditions, and yet a landing without a single person on board. That's not just unusual, that's impossible. The airport was in chaos. Emergency responders stormed the tarmac, expecting a hostage situation, a mechanical failure, anything that could explain how a plane could land with no crew, no passengers, just empty seats and silence. The engines were still humming, the cockpit door unlocked, but the pilot's seat vacant. It was as if everyone had simply vanished. The first thing I always do is look at the last known communications. The captain's voice had been steady, no panic, no sign of distress. But then came that chilling Mayday, and the silence that followed. The black box would have the answers, right? Wrong. I've worked on cases where killers left behind nothing but a whisper of a clue. But even whispers tell a story if you listen hard enough. So I kept digging. Security footage from the departure gate showed every single passenger boarding. The pre-flight checks, routine. The plane took off like any other flight. And then the transponder glitched, just for a moment, a blip on the radar. And in that moment, something changed. I thought back to a case I cracked years ago. A man who disappeared in front of a packed audience, vanished without a trace. The trick, misdirection. But this was no magic act. So what could erase an entire plane full of people mid-flight? I started piecing together possibilities. A hijacking? No ransom demands. A mechanical failure. The plane was in perfect condition. Some kind of experimental tech? Unlikely, but not impossible. I've seen government secrets buried deeper than this. Then, a breakthrough. A single item left behind in the cockpit. A flight log. One that didn't match the official records. Scribbled notes, corrections, a different set of coordinates. The last page was smudged, but one word stood out. Diverted. Diverted? To where? And by whom? That's when it hit me. What if this wasn't about where the plane landed, but where it never arrived? I reached out to an old contact in air traffic control, someone who owed me a favor. He pulled classified data, unreported radar anomalies near the plane's last known position, a momentary loss of signal, a gap, a window where anything could have happened. Think about it. If you wanted to make something or someone disappear without a trace, what better way than mid-air, where there are no witnesses, no cameras, just endless sky? So here's the real question. Was this plane meant to land at all? You see, every case has an answer. It may not be the one you expect. It may not be the one you want. But it's there, waiting to be uncovered. And this case isn't over. Not by a long shot. I'll be watching the skies. And you? You should too. Tomorrow we dig deeper. Tomorrow we chase another mystery. And trust me, you won't want to miss it.